Alright, so I recently started a new habit, or I'm trying to start a new habit, which is to take around these note cards and my handy dandy pen and just write down things I thought were interesting, or I think are interesting throughout the day or whatever. Maybe or maybe not post YouTube videos on them because I feel like I don't contribute enough to the anti-status community on YouTube. The most I do is just post comments on their videos and saying, oh, this is a good point, oh, I didn't think about this, oh, I agree with this, I disagree with that, and stuff like that. So I figured I'd start making my own YouTube videos. And I want to start making some on either economics or just talking about things from an economic perspective, because most of my arguments against statism are value free in terms of morals. And it's not just that I don't have morals, right? I morally oppose the state, but most of the things I talk about when I'm discussing things with people, I'll use either value-free arguments or I will say things that appeal to their preferences, not things that are untrue. They're still true. It's just that they're specifically things that they would like. And for example, libertarians often, I think, appeal to people on the right when they say things like, we need to get rid of welfare because you're giving money to people who don't deserve it. And I'm like, that's not really a good argument, first of all, because what if the poor person, quote unquote, deserves that money? If you can prove that they deserve it, then you can show that, yeah, maybe you should steal from someone to give them money. But so I don't think that's a particularly good argument, but I do know that some people use it to appeal to conservatives. I think that you can word things in a way to appeal to your target audience, but still not give up the logical nature of your argument, and not necessarily tell a lie either. You still need to say things from a libertarian perspective, but just appealing to your audience's preferences, whether they be on the left or the right. And so, for example, people on the left, will say that you can't get rid of welfare programs or whatever, and stuff like that, or regulations, because people, as private citizens, won't give to charity, or they won't take care of the poor and the needy and stuff like that. And if you were to get rid of those programs with the snap of a finger, just like that, and overnight, then yeah, I might agree. But if you do it over time and tell the public you're going to do it, then they can have reasonable expectations and plan around it. So they have expectations of what's going to happen in the future, and they plan around what is going to happen or what they think is going to happen. And so, anyways, where this pops into my little note card thing was that I was at a bar tonight and was talking with some folks from book club I'm in, and we started talking about just different stuff. And one of the things that came up was that I think it was an episode of 2020 that I watched with John Stossel when he was still doing 2020, how basically one of the reasons school lunch is so horrible is because people generally don't give their kids home cooked food or vegetables and that kind of thing. And yeah, school lunches have some veggies and stuff, but they're usually not that much, and that's usually horrible anyway. As a whole, the school lunch is usually horrible. And so if people were providing their own kids with food, then they'd at least have a stake in the game, even if it's even if they couldn't afford to get great lunches. The whole point would be to have the entire community pool their resources and come up with certain things they could give to their kids during lunch, or at least that they could supplement school lunches with, such as vegetables or things like that, or fresh fruit instead of canned fruit, stuff like that. And so because they have a stake in the game, it's it's not in the parents' interest, if they love their kids or whatever. If they want their kids to be healthy, it's not in their interest to make their kids sick. Now, if they hate their kids, well, that might be a different story. But empirically, most people don't hate their kids. At least that's my contention here. And so, I know one of the things that I brought up, concerning this 2020 thing, the 2020 episode of John Stossel was, I remember watching an episode where this lady was giving lunches, home cooked lunches, to needy children in her community. She would cook them food in her house and stuff like that, and give out the lunches. And she was stopped by the state, of course. Right? That's what the state does, stops people from helping each other. And of course, because the monopoly on violence needs to expand its monopoly, so it's going to stop people from competing with its services. And one of those services may be providing things to the needy that the needy need. And so one of the regulations she ran into was that she had to have, I think it was a special chimney or a permit or something, to show that she was preventing grease fires due to deep frying food in her home. And she wasn't even deep frying anything. She wasn't deep frying anything in her house, but yet she still had to have this special requirement. And so, just basic economics, increase the cost of charity, you're going to get a lower quantity of charity, and that's exactly what happened. So what happened was she stopped cooking those things, and I think she started giving out sack lunches, like just sandwiches or something. Excuse me. She couldn't cook anything at all, so because she couldn't afford to comply with this regulation. And I think, if I remember correctly anyways, she just eventually stopped giving food to the kids. So it was almost like a de facto law against charity. So that's what I like to tell people on the left. Is like, well, sure, if you're going to outlaw charity, you're going to get less charity. Right? And so someone from the economic perspective would just say, you increase the cost of charity, you get a lower quantity of charity. Right? It's basic economics. And so that's exactly what happened. And I just figured I'd make a YouTube video about that. So what else did I get? Yeah, I'll probably make another video, maybe tonight, same night, or maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say. I was gonna say. So I know, like, when people start getting crankish or whatever, I start being crankish back with them, not just to insult them, but I say things to appeal to their perspective and their preferences. But I'll say them kind of like in a polemical way, in a way to incite anger, because it'll, kind of make them, be taken aback or whatever. And in some cases, helps them think about things, because you're doing it in a way not just to, insult or anything like that, but that also appeals to their own preferences. So it's kind of appealing to their own reasoning and their own, and sometimes just their emotions too. But it's from the way they look at things, and so they kind of see the internal contradiction in their statements and that kind of stuff. And so I think that's one thing that libertarians can need to start doing, is appealing to people, whether it's on the left or the right, in terms of their own preferences, but without giving up the logic and stuff like that involved in a libertarian argument or in an anti-statist argument.